Hey everybody, it's Brandy. I hope you guys are good. So, it's November. It is so, it seems like the older that we age, because we ain't getting old, people. But, the longer we're alive, I should say that, the quicker time seems to go by so much quicker. I mean, it does not seem like it should be November, now. I'm glad that it is, though. I'm really glad. This is my favorite time of the year. But I've been seeing everybody put up, thankfulness, things on their daily, pages or Facebook posts and stuff. And I really hope that, and I'm sure that most of you guys do that, just thank God every day for the things that He's done for you, and if you haven't been, consistent and faithful with doing that, continue. Don't stop after Thanksgiving, continue to, give your thanks, to God for everything in your life. That's just one of those things that every day is when I think about it, anything that I come across that I think about, Lord, His grace, His mercy. I mean, the job that, He's blessed us with, the kid, I mean, just whatever. Just continue to thank Him. He's grateful for that. He appreciates it, when we say thank you. He's an awesome daddy. He's an awesome father. And how wonderful it is to know that your babies appreciate what you do. I mean, that just blesses his heart, I feel. But I had some quiet time this weekend, which is kind of rare, nowadays since we don't live near family. But I had some quiet time, to just kind of, talk to him, amongst myself with unlimited amount of time, and I just was talking to him and pouring my heart out to him about different things. I was talking to him about finances. I was talking to him about, a business that I feel like he's laid on my heart, and I was talking to him about a ministry that, is it comes out in these blogs, but it's deeper and more, than that. So I was talking to him about that. I was talking to him, about how, RJ's not been working as much as what he was, which, that's all gonna, I mean, it's picking back up. But, I was talking to him about a bunch of different things, about life in general. And, but I specifically remember, saying, that, because see, the reason that I was by myself was because Josiah was at a tournament. He had a baseball tournament, and RJ was not at work. He was at this baseball tournament. And this previous week, he had not worked as many hours as he normally had been. And, I was like, God, I just was like, RJ's, not at work today. And, I'm not at work today. And technically, I'll have to say this, my heart about working, God has had to minister to me and show me that just because I am not at a full-time employed job somewhere, that doesn't mean that I'm not working. I believe and I know that God has placed me in this house right now to take care of my family, to take care of my kids, to pray and to believe and to minister to them and to be able to, minister into them on a daily basis. And, so, while RJ's out working, I'm at home praying and I'm at home, believing, and I'm at home standing, and I'm speaking over our children. I'm speaking over our life. I'm speaking over our finances. So I am very much at work, and he has had to show me that our typical mindset of work, is completely different than what and how he views it. But these are the things that I was thinking and telling to him. I was just like, God, RJ ain't at work, I ain't at work, and like I said, I was talking to him about a bunch of different things, and I heard this on the inside of me when I got quiet. I heard, because there were some concerns, there. Like I said, I have some questions for him. I was talking to him, inquiring of him, what to do and what to say over my situations. And so that's the background behind that. And I heard on the inside of me, I heard, the Waymaker is at work. And I heard that on the inside of me. And so my mind, I didn't even speak it out. I just had the thought, well, what are you working on? What are you doing? And because, see, I was like, well, are you talking about the finances? Are you talking about life? I mean, what are you working on? What are you doing? And I heard making. And I was like, making? I said, well, what are you making? And because, see, still then, I didn't know what he was talking about, what he was referring to. And he said, all grace abound towards you, so that you're always having all sufficiency in all things. And when I heard that, I'd never before really heard it like that. And basically, when you put it all together, he said the waymaker is at work. And he's at work making. He's making all grace abound towards me, so that I'm always having all sufficiency in all things. You see, it shut me up right there, because I thought, he don't have to just work on one thing at a time. He's a multitasker, and he's amazing at what he does. And it was so sweet to me, because I thought, oh my gosh, here RJ was out enjoying life, and I'm here, praying, and I'm enjoying my life, but he is at work. My Jesus is at work. And it goes back to, he is the high priest over our profession in our mouth, his words in our mouth. He sees to it that everything is taken care of and that it comes to pass, and so what I was doing when I was talking to him is I was really inquiring of him. I was letting him know my concerns and things. And, listen, here's another thought. And I've heard this before, but we have never before informed God of anything. We think we come to him and we just gonna lay all these things at his feet and be like, look, God, now what you gonna do? He has not been surprised at the first thing. He has never woken up one morning. He has never gotten up and thought, oh crap, what am I going to do about this situation? Like, how am I going to fix this? How am I going to take care of it? He has never been surprised. He has never been informed. We have never let him know of anything. He knows what's up. He knows all, and he's already taken care. Those two things, he's the caretaker, and now to me, he's the way maker. Has blessed my heart, my soul, my life to so much, words cannot even, express how wonderful, those two characteristics and sides of God and of Jesus, that I cannot even tell you how much it's blessed me. We have never informed him of anything, because he's already seen it. He already knows, and he's already made a way. And he was giving me the words and the peace that I needed to speak and to rest over this entire situation, over my entire life. He knows what we need to hear. He knows what we need to speak and to say over our lives. And I thought it was so sweet that he answers, and he just knows exactly what to say. And you know what? I had to share it with you guys. I had shared it with another one of my friends. I just felt compelled to do it. And she was like, thank you, because I always feel like I'm bringing a list to him, and just, let's check this thing off the list. That's the way that I felt like that day. I was like, all right, God, I got to talk to you about this. I need to talk to you about this. And you know what? He was just like saying, I know, like, enjoy your life. I'm working. I am working on your behalf. And when you get the revelation that, first of all, Jesus and God don't need our help, they just need our faith, that alone will set you free. I mean, he don't need us to go out and to try to make things happen. He does not need us to go out and to try to make a way. That's when we get in a mess. That's how we do it. And he was just assuring me and letting me know that, you know what? It's okay. RJ was doing the things that he's supposed to do. He's enjoying life. You're in the place that you're supposed to be, and I am at work making. I'm at work making. And I'm making all grace All grace, whatever kind of grace that you need, all the kind of grace that there is, I'm making it happen. And so that in all of your situation, in all of your life, things that you don't even know about, Brandy, things that you don't even know about, He is making a way for it to all work together, for you to always have more than enough. I mean, you cannot convince me that He's not wonderful. That's why when the world, and people that truly don't know Him, say that, there is no God, and that, it's religion that has bought and sold these people lies. And it breaks my heart, because if you truly knew Him, if you truly knew how much He loved you and how much He wants to bless you and how much He wants to make everything beautiful in your life, then there would be no question. You would fall on your face and you would cry, and there would be not enough words that you could say. There wouldn't be enough time in the day that you could thank Him enough. There wouldn't be enough things that you could do, to come to. Because, some days I'm like, God, what can I do for you? What can I do for you, Jesus? You have been so good to me. What can I do? And, that's just my heart. I am ever thankful. I am ever grateful to Him because of little things like that, little words from Him that change everything. That change everything. I remember, I wasn't going to share this, didn't even think about it, haven't thought about it in a long time, but when I was, most of you who know me know that I've led praise and worship for, I don't even know, years and years. But, I grew up loving to sing. I remember looking in some baby books that I had, and they said that I used to sing before I could talk. And, I grew up listening to music, and, the greatest singers of all times. I mean, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, just awesome, awesome voices, that God had blessed. And it was undeniable that it was a God-given talent. And anyways, but I had this fear, and I had this insecurity for years. I mean, I'm talking until nobody knew I could sing until I actually was in a pageant when I was like 9 years old, and I sang this song, and I did not win the pageant, and it broke my heart because I thought, my talent isn't good enough. I sang and it wasn't good enough, and somebody else won, and I thought, I am never gonna let anybody else hear me sing. Never. And yet on the inside of me, and when I got quiet, it was something, and when I got by myself, it was something that came out of me naturally and that I could not get away from. And I just, I would praise and I would worship behind closed doors, and I would sing my heart out, but I thought, nobody will ever hear me sing, ever. And, I was that dogmatic about it, and I was that fearful and that insecure, of that talent that God gave me. And, I remember it was probably, I was pregnant with Josiah, and I just could not contain myself anymore. I was like, I've got to at least get up in the choir at church and sing, not on a mic or anything like that. I'll just be quiet and I'll just stand in the back and, whatever. And I remember, there were different events that took place, but I remember, being at home one day, and I remember, talking to God, and I had just heard a song come on the radio. I don't know if it was Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston or whatever, but it was one of them. And I remember saying to Him, I said, God, you know what? I said, you gave, these women such beautiful, beautiful voices. Like, and I thought how majestic sounding they are, just how perfect their voices are. And I thought, God, how come I can't sound like them? And I will never forget it. It changed everything. And He spoke to my heart, and He said, because they can't sound like you. And when He said that, it took me back. And in the word, hold on a minute, Pookie. The word He used was not they don't sound like you. He said they can't. And when He said that to me, I was like, oh my gosh, Not that they don't and that they could try. They can't. The most beautiful voices on this planet cannot sound like me. He had made my voice so original and so wonderful that God himself said that the greatest singers on this planet couldn't sound like me. And he knew that's what I needed to hear. And from that moment on, I made the decision. This is the thought. And he knew I needed to hear it just that way. Because I said, you know what? If God himself says and makes me feel like that my voice is so unique and he loves it so much that these people, that I think are wonderful and that I hold to high esteem, if they can't sound like me, then I don't care what I think about myself. I don't care what I feel. I'll sing for him. And it changed everything. And that day, that one word from him, like I said, it has, and not because anything in and of me, but my voice and that anointing that I've allowed to come through my voice, it's changed everything. Get alone with God and ask him. Ask him, tell him your heart, pour your heart to him and ask him, what do you say about this, God? What do you want me to say over this? I want your words on my life. I want to speak your words over my situation, because when I get your words, not only does it change my life, but it produces results. When you get God's words and Jesus's words, then he's the high priest over those words in your mouth, and he can bring to pass those things that you desire and that he ultimately desires for you as well. Well, I love you guys. I hope this helps. It blessed my heart. It blessed my heart. So I know that it will bless you guys too. Remember that the Waymaker is at work, and he is making all grace abound towards you, so that you're always having all sufficiency in all things. Okay? Love you guys. Be blessed. Bye.